I see the question in your eye. I know it's weighing on your mind. You can be sure I know my part. Here we go. 'Cause everybody, stand beside you through the years. You don't have to cry. Unhappy. And though I made mistakes, here we go. I'll never break your jaw. 'Cause I swear. Hello and welcome to episode 1 of me in my room talking absolute baloney. Hope you're keeping good. In this week's episode, we're talking about the top 10 dogging websites in the country being Ireland. Have you ever gone dogging in this country? I haven't, but I'd love to go. Give us a shout if you know the locations to go to. Or don't. I'll find them. I'll go on the internet and I'll have a good, hard look for myself, and I will find them, and I have found them. And in today's episode numero uno, which is Spanish for number 1, in case some people don't speak Spanish, we're going to be looking at the top 10 dogging websites, dogging locations in Ireland. Hope you enjoy this episode. Before I get into that any further, it's been very warm today. It has been hotter than an Egyptian's sock. And it's about 12 degrees, and it scares me when I go outside on a day like today and I expect it to be cold, because it's been cold recently, you know yourself. It's been down to -3, -5, -7. We've got snow. We got a couple of inches there last week. Ha ha. But now the weather has gone up as far as 12, 13, 14, 15 degrees in some parts of the county. Not just the country, the county of Mayo. I was talking to a friend today. He said it's plus 14 degrees where he is. Now, where I was, it was plus 12 at the time. So one of us was either lying or else there was a disparity in the temperature. But anyways, the main thing, it was hot. And whether or not you like the heat, I love it. And that's nearly the most important thing. And the reason being is because you have to find out what you love and you have to go for it. And I love the heat. And I'm sick of the rain. And I've had too much of it now. And nobody will talk me around from it. I have conversations with different people. I was talking to a Lithuanian fella today and he goes, I love the rain. I said, yeah? Well, I don't. And I don't love it. I love the sun. Plenty of it. I want to get nice and burnt. I want to be down the beach in Mexico, covered myself with carrot oil. And then I get up and the whole face is burnt. And I'm like, yeah, give this 1 week and I'll be as tanned as a fella down the bog for summer. Take off this fucking jacket. Making so much noise. I apologise if you're hearing all that noise on the jacket. Apologise as well about the way I started off this podcast. I was trying to perform too much, and I'm sorry. I'm just trying to get the algorithms to come towards me and say, here you go, here's a few followers. Let's chat a bit more. Now, when it comes to dogging, it's one of those things that people don't really talk about, but there's definitely people doing it in this country. There's about 3,000 people in the whole country of Ireland. The population at the moment is around 5.5 to 6 million in the country. But what I'm saying is that there's a few thousand people that go dogging. Now, you might say, oh, that's disgusting. You're hopping into a stranger's car and you're giving him or her an owl, ooh, how's your mother? And people don't like that because it's a stranger's car. The only time you should be in a stranger's car by rights is if you're thumbing a lift and someone gives you a lift and then they're dropping you into town. But you shouldn't be getting into strangers' cars. Or should you? Well, think about the stuff that you're into. Yes, you. The person that's at home listening to this right now. You filthy bastard, you. And I know you're filthy. The reason being is because we're all animals. We're all dogs. Between the sheets, we're all dogs. We're all cats. You put me between a pair of sheets. If there was 2 sheets here now, hands would be everywhere. All over myself. Just me. And some people are into that too. Some people are into just being at themselves all day, thinking about other stuff. And I've developed a new category that I think they should stick onto the internet. It's called voyeurism in a bush while people dog. And you think that that's crazy. If you've seen some of the stuff that they're doing in Japan at the moment, and I've seen it just for research purposes, incognito. And trying to get comfortable here in the seat now. I'm like fucking Mel Gibson. Fucking jumping around the spot. Speaking of which, Mel Gibson was on the Joe Rogan podcast there during the week, and there's been a few things that he said that have really blown people's minds. Let's take a look.
Yeah, there are party tricks that you can get. Right, but is that party trick, if it really is a pathway to connect you, at least temporarily, with God? That there is a thing inside of us.
Well, that's why I went to the priest, because I thought,
Right.
because I'm off the floor.
Right.
So I thought, I got to check this out, because this is too weird. And he said, did he heal you? And I said, he did. And he said, that's all right. Because the guy wasn't trying to get anything out.
So there he was, Mel Gibson, going on about some products that he believes could help him. Joe Rogan was there too. Now, Joe Rogan, the knowledge that man can pull out of the sky is just like, here's something, here's a word, bang. And I think, I could be wrong, I think it's the product that he's taken on it, which is a product that I purchased before, and it helps you put words together. How do I say this? It helps you put like it's like a full sentence together, quick, just like that. And that's the reason why Joe Rogan continues to be the best podcast in the world, because he can put words together in a sentence. And he can talk to the likes of Mel Gibson, one of the greatest actors this world has ever seen. And also a man that sort of leans into this whole, hey, I'm Mel Gibson, I'm kind of crazy, I could see anything. Maybe I'm doing it for a character, or maybe it's the truth. And when he did that Jesus movie, and he said a few things, people's perception of Mel Gibson changed for the better and for the worse. For the better and for the worse. People began to have more extreme opinions about Mel Gibson. And you can say what you want, but he knows how to get eyes on him. And that's the reason why Joe brought him on. So this is my little breakdown of that situation. Joe brought Mel on to get eyes on the show. Because at the end of the day, Joe can talk his talk. But all he wants, at the end of the day, all he wants is a nice, comfortable house when he gets home. So he can hop in the ice bath, or he can go into the echo chamber, or he can have dinner with the family, meet every fucking day. I'm sure the wife is probably saying, elk again, Joe, is it? And he's like, just chill, I'm just out of my fucking crypto chamber. I'm having a dig at Joe, but to be honest, I do admire the man for what he's done for us podcasters. So thank you very much, Joe, for that. And I wonder, has Joe ever gone dogging? I'd say he probably hasn't. Maybe he did. I'm sure he'd enjoy it. Again, I've never done it myself, but would I give it a go? I might do, yeah. But I'd have to be in a different country. I wouldn't do it now here, we'll say, in Mayo, because you'd know the person in the car next to you. And then if you hopped into the back seat, they'd be like, well, what's going on? You'd be like, dogging? And it could go either way. It could be a case of the whole family find out that you're into dogging, or yes. And then you have a good time or whatever, you have a bad time. The two, you can do whatever you want when it comes to the dogging. But then you bump into each other down the high streets of Castlebar, Ballina, Newport, Crossmolina, where Kieran McDonald, the greatest GAA footballer, is from. The greatest GAA footballer to ever live, I should say. And the first to have cornrows. I wonder, did he ever go dogging? Did you ever go dogging, or would it be something that you're into? Now, the reason why I asked that question is because earlier on I was talking about how people are filthy, dirty little filthy bastards, including myself. And some people are into real kinky stuff. Some people are into sex parties. A lot of people nowadays are into open relationships. That's a really big thing. So there's people going into open relationships and they're like, yeah, we're hanging out together. But if she's gone off with somebody else, she gives me a call and say, yeah, do you mind? Johnny's come back to the house. And then you can call her up and say, I'm actually out with Maureen. And sometimes, there's another thing that can happen. 1, 2, 4 people together. The reason why I'm saying this is because people are kinky, and that's why I don't think we should turn our nose up to dogging. I think it's something that we need to accept into society. I think it's going to give another purpose to car parks, repurpose the car parks and the forestry and the woods and wherever else these people are meeting, the Hard Shoulder, all these different places. So we're going to go through the top 10 dogging websites in the country. Right, here we are. We're back in the hot seat. We're talking shite, and we're going to go through the top 10 dogging websites in the country. I bought some almond milk there the other day in Tesco. It's absolutely disgusting. I know what I was thinking. I actually, to be honest, what I was thinking was I'll get it back into the porridge and I'll start eating healthy again, and I'll get myself some fucking bird seeds and all that shite that you put into the old porridge, bit of honey, a couple of berries, banana, and I'll stick in a bit of almond milk, hot water, bit of almond milk, stick it in together. Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. You'll have a lovely breakfast there for yourself, and it'll keep you going for the day, and it's a good way to start off the day. But I ended up, anyways, I didn't end up doing it. I did it once, and I didn't really like it because it did taste like food you'd get in prison. So I ended up having about half a litre of this stuff, almond milk. Oh, it's disgusting. But instead of throwing it out, I said, you know what, I better finish it because it's not a good look to be throwing away a pint of almond milk. So with saying that, I'm going to be drinking that now for the next 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, so let's look at some of the dogging locations across this wonderful island of ours, and there's been some amazing places. Number 10 on the list is Sandymount Strand, Dublin. Nice bit of sand there. Lovely little small square car park to go at the business, whatever it is you want to do. Somebody sent that in to me and they recommend that spot. They said it's better on a Thursday or Friday. They said, but all week long, especially in summertime, it's a place to be. Oh, that almond milk is disgusting. And it's a small car park, so when you do go there, just make sure that you know there's enough space there, because you don't want to get excited and then find out there's no spots, and then you have to drive home and you jack yourself off on the bypass. Number 9 on the list, Mullingar Underground Car Park beside the Joe Dolan statue. Interesting. I think I was there before. At the Joe Dolan statue, that is, not the Mullingar Underground Car Park. Although I was in Mullingar many's a time, it's a great town, and I didn't know there was an underground car park there beside the Joe Dolan statue. So that comes in from Johnny. He said he lives there now, not in the underground car park. He lives in Mullingar. And good on you, Johnny. Fair play. I hope you're enjoying yourself and you're keeping it steady enough, anyways. And there is an etiquette when it comes to the I suppose the dogging, when in the sense that if you leave your window open on the right hand side, that means you're into certain things. If you've put on the indicator for the left hand side of the car, that means you're into other things. And nobody wants to know what you're into. But there's an etiquette beforehand so that you can hop into the car with that person, and then you're like, oh, so you like it up the bum, do you? That's why you had the window down. Or whatever it is you're into. Phoenix Park, plenty of space for parking. That comes in at number 8. Yeah, Phoenix Park over the years has been a renowned spot for doggers. Not just people who go there to dog. It's a great park, it's really nice and big, and it's just outside Dublin City. So when you do go into Dublin, it's a good place to hang out before or after, just to sort of debrief the mind a small bit. So I'd like to go there now. For example, when I was in Dublin last, I was Christmas shopping, and after I was shopping, I was like, I need to just get out of here for a minute because the streets were so busy. So, it's disgusting, that stuff. So I went into Phoenix Park, and lo and behold, I came across, pardon the pun, a load of deer. And then I pulled up my pants and I kept walking and genuinely came across a load of cars. And that's the reason why, that's inspired this episode of the podcast, or this first episode. I seen a load of people getting in and out of cars and getting in and out of cars. And I thought that it was a sight to behold. And I was in the bushes just watching from a safe distance, not doing anything strange. It's a free park. Phoenix Park, if you're ever coming to visit Dublin, pop into Phoenix Park, it's free. You can have a little walk around for yourself. No place is off limits. So I would advise you to go there, but if you do go there, try to stay away at night time because things happen in some of the car parks, unless of course you're into that. As I said earlier on, people are into this kind of stuff. There's about 2,000 people in the country who like to go dogging. Things keep going the way they're going, there could be 2001. Galway Salt Hill Promenade. That's the whole strip, I'm guessing. This, by the way, was on a swingers website, so it's hard to know if this is the truth. And I'm sure that these places, they change from one place to another, or somebody puts in your new car park and Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt, before you know it, there's people pulled up and they're flashing the fucking lights in the car, and then it's happening. So Salt Hill Promenade, that's a place, it's a lovely place for a walk. If you're ever in Galway, pop up there to Salt Hill and go out to Caesar's Palace and then take a walk along the old promenade and have yourself a beautiful walk. Go down there and kick the wall. That's what they do in Galway. They kick the wall. Well, maybe if this dogging is to be as good as they're saying it is here, maybe something else needs a kicking out of the car park. The dogging. That makes no sense. But what I'm saying is you don't want to have dogging right beside people who are going for lovely walks, because you got tourists out there. You got Americans walking down the promenade going, oh my God, this is amazing. They turn around, they see people in the back seat or the front seat. I've seen it happen on the videos. Doing it. Okay? And I won't say any more than that. The Yanks might love it, they might hate it. Even though they're into real naughty stuff as well. So it just makes you wonder, who is the filthiest nation in that sense? Who's the most perverse nation in the world, would you say? I'd say the Irish are probably up there. We're very naughty between the sheets. Now, sometimes we do take a bit of a kickstart, but once we get going, ho 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 ho. Okay, moving on. Mayo, Crowpatrick Car Park. I've never heard about this one before, but I think that would be risky, considering there would be people walking up the mountain. They might be talking about the story of St. Patrick himself. It's a very spiritual journey. It steps all the way up now to the very top of Crowpatrick. But on the way down then, if they see people in a car or even on a bike, I've seen people on bikes doing it. 69 each other. For example, there's an example. I'm going to throw it at you. 2 people on a bike, 69 each other. If you came down the mountain and you saw that, like, you would forget about the mountain, and that's not what it's not about. That makes no sense. What I'm saying is the dogging at the bottom is not what that mountain is about. It's not. People need to know this. It's about a man called Patrick that climbed the mountain, and he talked to God, and he came down, and God was like, I want you to go around everywhere here. Start spreading the word of me, please. Please, man, will you do it for me, will you? Okay, so next on the list is Longford, and it says generally. So from what I'm gathering here, there's a few different spots in Longford. Maybe the whole town is in some way, shape or form dogging at any given time. But I will say this, big shout out to Longford. It's a great town. And I've often stopped into Supermax there for a milkshake. Or there used to be, when you'd be driving or getting a bus from Mayo, we'll say, to Dublin, they'd always stop in Longford for a 15-minute break. And I'd go into the bus station and make a pee, come back out again, make eye contact with a few lads in the hallway, go up then to the shop, and the woman would be there. What would you like? Get a homemade sandwich, please. Can I get a cup of tea? 2 sugars? You betcha. Give us the 2 sugars. And normally I wouldn't take any sugar in my tea, or in my coffee for that matter. But I'd take 2 sugars there and I'd get a lovely little kick off the sandwich. It'd be only $4.50. This fucking cost me £2. Almond drink. Disgusting stuff. Next on the list is Cork. And it says up by the hill there's a car park. That's an interesting one. I guess they're making you work for your dogging, which is fair enough. It could be good to get yourself into a bit of a sweat before you get up the top of the hill there. Or sorry, when you get to the top of the hill and then you get stuck into the dogging. But let's just see what the definition of dogging is, because I don't want to be going on about it and then not be talking about it in the right manner. So dogging is the practice of watching or engaging in exhibitional sexual activities in a public place. So it's not the kind of thing where you'd invite somebody over to your house and there'd be keys in a bowl and everybody would be just like mingling, shaking hands, winking at each other. This is exhibitional stuff, and it's in a public place. So it's got to be in a car park. It's got to be in a, as I said, behind a bus station. You name it. It's all about your imagination. Dogging is a British English slang term for engaging in sexual acts in a public or semi-public place or watching others doing so. There may be more than 2 participants. Both group sex and gang banging can be included. Okay. As observation is encouraged, voyeurism and exhibitionism are closely associated with dogging, the people involved meet either randomly or, and that can happen randomly, just in case you do pull into one of these car parks and you're like, I don't want to be here. Trust me, I've been there. Just call the cops. Either randomly or increasingly arrange beforehand over the internet to meet up. Now, of course, the internet has turned us all into these absolute subterranean perverts. We just want a bit of everything. You just want a bit of everything. And it started off, it was just so simple. You'd see two mountains in the distance and that'd be enough for you. And now it's just like, I want there to be fucking a fish involved. Anyways, in September 2003, BBC News reported on the new dogging craze. 2003, that's when it sort of kicked off. I suppose September 2003, that's 2 years after the Taliban. So maybe people were just looking to get out a bit, but they also wanted to do it inside the comfort of their own car. They cited the internet and text messaging as common ways of organising meetings. The original definition of dogging, and which remains a closely related activity, is spying on couples having sex in a car or other public place, which would make you question or wonder even, what came first, the dogging or the spying? There is some evidence on the internet that the craze has begun to spread to other countries, such as United States, Canada, Australia, Barbados. Jesus, gone out to Barbados, Brazil, Denmark, the Netherlands, Norway, Poland, and Sweden. And I'll stick another one on the list. Ireland, big time. Is it legal? We're going to read about that now, but I would imagine that it wouldn't be legal, because what if you're just out there with your granny, for example, and the two of you are going for a walk and you want to bring her out for her walks. So you're taking your granny for a walk in the park and all of a sudden the two of you just look into the front seat of a Yaris and there's two arses just bouncing up and down and just flesh everywhere. And it's not like the flesh you're thinking of. It's not like this porcelain bit of flesh. It's just hairy and it's lumpy and you can see the dingleberries and it's just you and your granny are like, is this one of the last memories that me and you are going to have together? So I think it should be illegal in some places. But at the same time, maybe the element is the actual fact that you could be caught. Some people love that. I don't like to be caught. I want to go into the house myself and herself, have a nice time, pull the curtains. All right. Stick on a bit of music. Could be anyone's. James Brown is good. Get down. I've never done that before in my life. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm trying to show off again. I've never done that in my life. I've never played James Brown in bed. Okay? Let's just put that out there. I've never put on music. Years ago, I used to put on Coldplay actually when I was in bed, but that was just to fall asleep. And nowadays, sometimes if I can't sleep, I'll put on a bit of... You have to pick the right one to put on too, you know. You can't have someone talking away to you. You have to have someone that's just fucking... Like Enya. You know, you stick on Enya there to fall asleep and the last thing you're thinking about is yourself and Enya just knocking around a castle playing fucking checkers. Enya was the smart one. She did well. She was just the one who said, you know, I'm going to stick out a few songs. I'm also going to move to a castle with my raven. The two of us are just going to chill. I'm going to make my songs about boats and about angels and about clouds. And she made some of the best songs ever. If you haven't got a chance to listen to Enya, stick it on tonight. I promise you, it will change the way you live. This is me sort of kind of giving the nod towards Enya. I don't know if you're big into podcasts, Enya, but if you are, I would love to interview you. I'd love to chat to you. So anyways, folks, we're going to get back to the last two dogging sites that are here in front of me. One of them, the second to last one, is Waterford City beside the water. That's what somebody says. There's a great view in a small little tiny car park beside the water in Waterford. Great for dogging. Big thumbs up from Jimmy. So Jimmy looks like he's enjoying himself anyway. Oh, that is disgusting. That's vegan as well. Not saying anything wrong with vegan. That's, you know, mighty stuff. But like what I'm saying is that particular stuff tastes, I don't like to say it, but it tastes a bit like cow jizz. And I know that cows don't have jizz, but it just, there's something about it. It's like there's a bit of a, ugh. So yeah, I wouldn't be recommending that now, unless of course it is tossed across a field of porridge. And then you could probably get stuck into it. Anyways, Waterford City beside the water. That's apparently a good place to go dogging. And I'm going to add in the final one myself, the top one of the list. And then I'd love to know what you think the best spots are in Ireland for not just dogging, but for going for walks, for hanging out, for meeting people, and for like chatting away and all that sort of stuff. It doesn't have to be about dogging, obviously. In fact, I'd prefer if it wasn't. Although everyone needs their things to do, and I think the people who do go dogging should be allowed to go whenever they want, but there needs to be specialised locations for this sort of stuff, like corners of fields where there's just a tiny car park and it's a dogging car park. And if you're in the car park, you have to go dogging, and if you're not, grand, stay away. We don't want you here. No, we don't want you here. We don't want you in this car park. You're not going dogging. Reverse. So anyways, to cut a long story short, I would say one of the best places to go dogging would be Cliffs of Moher. And the reason why I say this is because you have this beautiful view across the Atlantic there, the big powerful Atlantic. And you're in the car with the person, and you can just, you feel like you're flying. And again, stick on a bit of Inya when you're doing it. And by God, that's the best high you'll ever get in your life. Dogging, Cliffs of Moher, Inya. Oh, just thinking about it now makes me think I need to hop in the car and drive into town and see who's about. So, anyways, that's all the spots I have there for the dogging. Hope you enjoyed that. Now I'm going to read out some of the comments that I got in there last week onto the YouTube page. And I want to thank everybody for commenting and for being in touch and chatting away to me and emails and all that stuff. It's really nice to have you on board, and we love hearing from you. We love hearing from you here, I meant to say. Okay, so let's go through these comments anyways on YouTube. So we'll start off the top there. John should be your full-time podcast partner. Yes, of course. John Cleary, very funny man from Sligo. He was on the podcast there, the other podcast that I do with Eamon or Eddie or fucking, we call him all sorts of names. Eamon, Eddie, Adam, and we'll get John on again. He's a great man and we love him to bits. Love the podcast. Don't keep a list. Thank you very much, Akel Booley. You have me craving biscuits now. We were talking about biscuits there in that podcast. And yeah, biscuits. I had a load today actually as well. Myself and Peter Cashty. We went swimming in the Atlantic Sea there today. And then a friend of mine, Mick Dempsey, turned up and he brought a load of biscuits with him. So I've got a bit of footage there of that as well. So big shout out to Mick Dempsey for the lovely biscuits. Once you start, it's hard to stop. So that's the key to giving up the biscuits, I would say, is to just don't even have them in the house in the first place, because if they're there, you're going to eat them. Don't even pretend you're going to have the willpower not to eat them, because you will eat them. Joining you guys on YouTube is my guiltiest pleasure. Thank you very much, James. No need to feel guilty. Join us. Great to hear from you. What do you call a man with 6 Mickeys? Shea O'Toole. That comes in from Sias Hunk. Gay Ass Hunk. 1923. I've got very bad eyesight. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm squinting away here. Another week, another message. Let's get you on the Working Class Podcast. Let's make this happen. That comes in from Notorious Belfast. So I'd love to get on that, lads. Give us a shout there on the old email address. And if anyone wants to get in touch, give me an old email at owncollie@gmail.com. Stick it up there. And let's keep going here. And anyways, having the Biscuit Bandit Caleri on as a regular guest is a cute move. You have to be cute in this world of media. You have to keep everyone on their toes. So it is great to have John on board, though. He's a lovely fella. And thank you very much, Desmond Winkst. Great to hear from you. Eating biscuits in the middle of the night. There should be a counselling group for that. Biscuits Anonymous. Completely agree. There's something to be said for when you're when you're like an adult and you can just eat any sort of chocolate or any sort of crap that you want. That's the problem. As a kid, you're like, oh, I can't wait to grow up and I can eat whatever I want. And then you become an adult and you're like, you've got to stay away from the shit food. But by God, it's fucking tough. Because they make stuff like this almond milk that is just absolute crap. Let's keep going here. True about the coffee biscuits, says Boo Coop Jelly. We mentioned that the coffee biscuits were the worst kind of biscuits. Well, people are sort of coming around to the coffee biscuit now, just like they've come around to coffee, because tea was always the big one, but now coffee's everywhere. So I think people, when they eat the coffee biscuits now, they're like, oh yeah, this reminds me I should have a coffee. Vanilla ice cream instead of the digestive biscuit. Okay, vanilla ice cream. Yeah, what about vanilla ice cream between two biscuits? Did you ever try that? Like two digestive biscuits and a bit of ice cream in the middle. Or I should know a fella, he'd butter the inside of a biscuit and he'd put them together and then eat them. And we'll finish up with this one from Brian, 2881. He says, it's probably those little Hamlet cigarillos or some other mass-produced thing that was being handed out at the wedding. I got sick there, you see, for a while. I smoked a cigar at a wedding and I got a bit stuck there in my throat. So I was telling people there about that before, and Brian is getting on to me about this now. So those things are harsh, bitter, and just flat out nasty. Those little thin cigarettes, cigarillos. I smoked one of those and I was like, oh, I could feel it in my throat. They're not even real cigars. They're just tobacco sweepings wrapped in tobacco paper. So they're just tobacco sweepings. So basically what I'm thinking there is, it's a bit of tobacco that was on the ground and they're just sweeping it into a fucking paper, rolling it up and saying, stick that there in the shop, someone's going to buy it. I wouldn't smoke those things if you paid me. Real cigars are proper tobacco all the way though, and are generally made by hand, and a good cigar paired with something nice to drink is a real thing of beauty. I recommend it. I'm not sure if I can go with that, to be honest. I don't know about that now. I've seen people drinking whiskey and smoking a cigar, and I don't know would I take the cigar. I don't know if it's enough of a kick for me to think, this cigar is nice, even though I'm paying 50 quid maybe for a cigar. I don't know how much they cost, but I'd need to be turned on to go for that one. But the whiskey, I can understand the whiskey, because you have a little tip of a whiskey, like, oh yeah, bastard, you. Oh yeah, fucker. But you know that it's going to bring you to an exciting time, but by God, it's also going to bring you down, so you want to be cute. What else we got going on here? We're going to finish actually with these last few comments. John's surname is spelled incorrectly on the thumbnail. What kind of low-budget amateur operation is this? That's what was given to me by Google. Thank you very much, Grammar7878, you bollocks, yeah. I'm only having a crack. Or am I? And then Shane199416. Owen looking well. How do you have twice the hair now compared to Buzz 15 years ago? Let's just say I fucking went to Turkey. Good luck to you. Chat to you soon, lads. Speaking of which, I'm heading over now. Right, lads, I'll see you soon. God bless you. Thank you so much for watching this episode 1 of Random Topics on the Internet. What would you like me to talk about next week? I'd love to hear from you. And as I said, keep sending in the messages. It's great to chat to you. And I hope all is well in your life.